Good morning, good afternoon. Thank you for tuning into the home of Nanny Dogs 314. We already know who your talk man is. We're gonna talk about John P. Colby and Lightner, and we're going to break down things about Colby and Lightner. And let's get this where we need you to be. Let's get here. Let's see. Thank you for tuning in. Hit that thumb up if you haven't. Hit that thumb up. This is gonna be very good. Very good. We're gonna have some content that you're gonna like. Some gonna like it, some not gonna like it. But so we're gonna talk about Colby and Lightner. Hit that thumb up. Okay, let's get it here. Let's see. Let's go here. This is for education purpose. Thanks to Buck City, I have this content. So we're gonna let this content play. Shout out Buck City Kennels. He let me use this content.
Everyone else had in those days. So they stood out. And then Lightner got out of the dogs. I think he moved from Louisiana to Colorado, and he developed a separate strain of dogs that are not whole family reds. They were black dogs. So I think what made them famous was the classic match between Cersei Jeff and I forget the other dog's name. It was Runyon's Imp. I think it was Runyon's Imp or Imp 2, one of those two. So that match was like in 1936 in a convention, and Tudor went into Hemphill.
So he said in 1936. Majority of anybody that's watching this, we all was born. We was all born in the 90s. I mean, not the 1900. We were all born in the 1900s. So anybody that's listening to this, you had to be born in the 1900s. So we're gonna let this finish play because this is education purpose only to teach you something about the. You'll find out in a minute. Then we'll talk more.
It was like in 1936 in a convention, and Tudor went into Hemphill. Hemphill was handling Cersei Jeff, which was a Lightner dog. And then Imp was off of Lightner's New Blood,
so Lightner and Lightner, two Lightner dogs. We have so this guy is saying Lightner and Lightner. So both dogs are created by Lightner.
Many claim the New Blood he had actually started the Blue Dogs. So whether that's true or not, a lot of people claim that was the black blue dogs that Lightner created.
So black blue dogs that Lightner created. Black blue dogs that Lightner created. Okay. So we got Lightner. Listen, we got Lightner supposed to created the founder of the blue dog that I love. that I love. So shout out Lightner. Shout out Lightner for even putting them out there so I can be able to know about them. Shout out Lightner.
Were the forefathers to the Blue American or staffs, whatever you want.
See, the reason he said staff whatever you want, because when I first got on YouTube 4 years ago, it was a touchy situation to talk about the blue dog. It was a touchy situation. It was don't go there. Don't go there. So it was a real touchy situation. It was a real touchy situation about the blue dog. Salute, hit that thumb up. It was a real touchy situation about the blue dog. So we're going to finish.
And at this convention in 1936, Tudor was going into Hemphill, and it was the red blood versus the blue blood, black blood, whatever you want.
Wait. So it was the blue blood versus the red blood. Only way that you could put versus, so put like this. You can't verse no one that doesn't exist. That doesn't never been alive, never even been you cannot versus something that has never ever been known of. You know what I'm saying? This is the blue dog. So it was blue versus red. So they did versus blue versus red. Nobody never spoke on that. So salute to the man and salute to the content holder Buck who let me use this. So thank you, Buck.
Whatever you want to call it. So it was a classic convention. And Lightner was there, and he said both dogs, strain of dogs, were worthy, worthy dogs.
So Lightner said that he didn't have a problem with. He had created the red line, and he had created the black blue line. So he had created two lines already. Okay, go ahead. I'm gonna let that go ahead. So Lightner created the blue line and the red line. Lightner had his red line and his blue line. Okay, so we understand that.
And this is where Tudor became famous. So Cersei Jeff actually won the match, and they thought he had killed Imp. And the story.
So I'm guessing the blue dog name was Imp. So I'm guessing his name was Imp. I mean, that's what he's saying. So the blue dog name was Imp, and it was a Lightner creation. Okay, go ahead.
I read was Bob Hemphill was on the bottle a little bit and was probably a little mouthy with Tudor. And he bet Tudor, at the convention in front of everybody. He goes, I will bet you that I could get Cersei Jeff to scratch to a dead dog because they thought Imp was dead. And he did. He scratched to Imp, and they broke him off. And then Tudor picks up Imp, who's dead, goes in the corner. I don't know.
So when they use the word dead, it doesn't mean physically that the dog was deceased. I guess it means that the dog didn't have no more fight in it. Or if they believe that the dog didn't have no more fight in it. But we're going to let it finish and see, did the dog have more fight in it?
Or talks to the dog or whatever, and the dog comes out stumbling and takes hold of Cersei Jeff. And then Tudor's famous statement was, you showed me a live dog that would hit a dead dog. I just showed you a dead dog that hit a live dog. And many believe that's where the term dead game came into play.
Okay, so we knowing that one of the founders supposed to be of the Blue Dogs is Lightner. Shout out Lightner. Shout out Colby, because Colby did business with Lightner, even though he I guess he would know that the dogs was blue. I mean, like it wasn't no secret about the dogs being blue. I believe that it was something that was not hidden. I don't think that Lightner hid that the dog was blue. I don't believe that, because they had blue versus red. And then we have another a dog man who spoke on the time limit that he said, because this guy said that this battle was in 1936. So 1936, it was a battle of lighter dogs, lighter reds and lighter blues. And both, I mean, it was really not bad.
There was a small pocket of game red blue pit bulls. 30s and 40s and 50s, there was a small pocket of game.
So we are hearing that right there is that is dang, it's so many rebels, it's so many dog, man. That is, my mind is so twisted because there's so many of them. I don't want to. Tom Garner, sorry. Tom Garner. That's Tom Garner saying that back in the 1930, 1940, 1950, it was game bred blue pit bulls. And now we're hearing that the game bred blue pit bulls was dogs that Lightner was made. Lightner made, I guess Lightner some kind of way had the dogs, and he made the dogs what he wanted to make them. I mean, like Lightner had the opportunity to do it because Lightner was a reputable breeder back then. He was a breeder who made good bulldogs. You know, Lightner made good bulldogs. He made awesome bulldogs. You know, he made dogs that to this day people wish they can have in their yard. See, what I realized about Lightner and Colby is that Colby and Lightner did business together. They did breeding together. So I heard a lot of back in the day. Oh, back in the days, you didn't have a good bulldog if you didn't have Colby in it. And I used to be like, when I heard the stories and read the stuff, I'm like, what do they mean you gotta have Colby in it? But when I started doing research of Colby was the guy who he was breeding dogs. This is all for education purpose only. This is not for no illegal purpose. But Colby had dogs that would go for like an hour, 3 hours. But at the end of the day, some people would say that they could not back in the days make a dog. You know, they had the time, so they say Kobe dogs back in the days would if your dog didn't tear Kobe dog apart. I mean, I'm not gonna say that. Kobe first set of dogs was the stuff. Kobe first set of dogs was the stuff. Kobe had some the A1s. I wish I had a dog by Kobe, but then Kobe over time, Kobe dogs started losing. So and they say Lightner dogs had, you know, they start like you gotta think about it. It's the situation with these dogs are happening now, but the difference is nowadays people would do the same breeding that Lightner did, or Earl Tudor, or for Carvino. They would do their breeding, and they don't know like really what made them do, because you gotta think about it. When you heard pedigrees and they say Red Boy, Jocko, Bodie, or Tombstone, they're more, even though they're family members in there, but they're a different strain. They're a different strain of Apbt. So with them being a different strain of Apbts, then the Red Boy could have had better mouth. The Jocko could have had more wind. The Bolio could have had better frame. So when it comes down to that, the goal was that they wanted to make dogs like Kobe made, like Lightner made, like Carvino made, like Earl Tudor. You know what I'm saying? That's what people chasing nowadays, is chasing the dog. But back then they was chasing blind. They wasn't chasing pedigree. They was chasing you know, so if they heard back then, if you had a 4-time winner, they was chasing the 4-time winner. Hit that thumb up if you haven't. They were chasing the 4-time winner. So they really didn't know how the 4-time winner was bred. They just wanted to, like back in the days, it was if your dogs did a job, everybody would like, okay, like Kobe Pitcher, people chase Kobe Pitcher, like Carvino, you know, Carvino, I mean, not Carvino, but Lightner, old school red, they was chasing them too. They was chasing them too. They was chasing everything that they could chase from the pioneers of the dog game. You know, the mentors of the game, the man of the game. You know what I'm saying? Because they brought so much to the dog game that at the end of the day, if with them being like, because I don't know, listen, I don't know if Lightner, I don't know if Carvino, I don't know if Earl Tudor, I don't know if Kobe was racist, but I do like what I don't like the sport that they did with it, but I like the dogs, the smartness, the the job to please, because that dog to please to go in a box can be that dog can please to be a family dog or a guard dog, or you know, your best friend. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, with like, okay, prime example, back in the days, their dogs knew when to turn on. Like the dog could be in the house with the pig or the horse, or I mean in the form with the horse, or in the house with the cat, and that dog knew if it got picked up and it was going towards a box, it was time for it to do its sport. Nowadays, you're here, people say, "Oh, my dog just all animal aggression," and it's like, like back then, in their time limit, they didn't have to, like in the 1800s, the early 1900s. They didn't have to. That sport that they do back in the day that is illegal now, that sports back then was a sports that was not talked, not criticized, not talked about. It wasn't a felony when Colby and Lightner and Carvino and Earl Tudor, back when they was doing it, it was not. It was way. It was a little bit different. Nowadays, if you try to do that and you're caught doing it, it is against the law to dog fight. I know that you can do what you want to do with your dog. This is not Kobe's time. This is not Earl Tudor's time. This is not Lightner time. Because Lightner is that, now hearing that Lightner is, if you didn't hear this and if you just now getting in, you'll have to go back. I do have of Lightner, supposed to be the founder of the Blue American Pit Bull Terrier, the Apbt, the American Pit Bull Terrier. So thanks to shout out Buck City, because I got a person got on this channel. It was speaking, and what he said matched up well with that. It matched up to other dog men that's been saying that the blue dog existed. Like, we had this man who talked about the blue dog that you're gonna hear. They don't run blue dog. Just like a lot of people did. I mean, listen, the creator of the blue dog, they are saying, is Lightner. We all know Lightner was the red dogs. Lightner had good dogs. Lightner was a person that people wanted. Lightner dog. So when they had the Lightner versus Lightner red versus Lightner blue or black, however the dude said, blue or black, it kind of makes sense that they would, because it was all competition. So if they was doing the sports and Lightner get a hold to a dog and he has it in his backyard or in his yard or on the chain, or however Lightner had that dog, he had to see something in them blue dogs for Lightner to be able to keep it going. And Lightner was very into his dogs. I mean, like Lightner sat there and watched a red bloodline, the old school reds versus the new school black or blue dog. That's what he had made. He had made a new strain of dog. And it's just amazing that anybody that was born from 1960, 1970 really probably never even really researched Lightner to know that Lightner supposed to made blue dog. Now, this not coming from me. This is coming from information that people like that older guys that get on the internet and that they try, because the myth is that this blue dog was this APBT when it wasn't. I mean it was that the blue dog wasn't APBT and it was an AM step, but it was an APBT because Lightner proved it as being an APBT, and Earl Tudor and Colby and all them approved it as being a APBT, American Pit Bull Terrier. So how can we go with the founders of the APBT, go against them when we just pups in the game? Anybody can say I've been breeding dogs for the longest. You listen. You can breed horses for the longest, but if you don't know the research behind every horse that came out and every color come out and everything about it, you just a person that's learning. I was always raised, you never too old to learn. You never too old to learn. Because you got to think about it. What made Lightner create a different strain? And the information is Lightner had went out of the red dogs and went into his new strain, his blue strain, his black strain. So what was it? What was going wrong with his red dog that he created another strain? Maybe he so many people had his blood that what it wasn't his. It wasn't no Lightner blood no more. It was Lightner dogs, but it wasn't Lightner touch. It wasn't Lightner. It wasn't Lightner touch. So Lightner said, I'm gonna make a different strain. And he made a different strain. And that's when it went blue versus red. Like, you gotta think about it. Blue versus red or red versus blue. But both of them was the breeder of the, listen. So it was two different strains. So how many other people had two? If Lightner had his red line and then he went out his red line, went in the blue line, I don't think that Lightner was the only ones that was breeding his new strain, because everybody knew Lightner was the man. You know what I'm saying? Like in his era, Lightner was the man, and you got to think about it, because when we heard that it was two different dog men in that era. It was two different dog men in that era that had Lightner dogs. So that means people believed in Lightner dogs. I mean, Lightner dogs had to be some good APBT, American Pit Bull Terriers, because if they wasn't, wouldn't nobody go chasing Lightner dogs. Like people in the chat back in the days, Kobe had good dogs, so they chasing Kobe dogs. All these dogs, like if you got Red Boy, Chinaman, Bolio, Tombstone, Eli, Niggerino, I got so many of them because I don't want to miss none. Chinaman. I mean, just it's so many bloodlines, because you gotta think about it. If I do a breeding, like, okay, I got Blue Ice bloodline. So when you do your own breeding and you make your own strain dogs, the whole point of these guys named like Covino, Colby, Lightner, Tudor, just like, okay, for example, is if you buying a dog from Up to Date, we're gonna say if you're buying a dog from DDK, it'd be DDK. If you're buying a dog from Danny Dog, it'd be Blue Ice Bloodline. It's just like the everybody puts their name on the dog once they make their dog. So at the end of the day, you got to think about this. We can never ask none of the mentors and Tom Garner. Listen, I have more respect for Tom Garner than I ever did, because Tom Gordon had said it before the video that I played, the content I played before I played the Tom Gordon before I played the Tom Gordon. See, Tom Gordon had said 1930, 1940, 1950, right? He had said it. And then we heard that it was a blue versus red in 1936. So that match up with what he said that Tom Gordon said. Tom Gordon said exactly this.
There was a small pocket of game red blue pit bulls. 30s and 40s and 50s, there were.
So with that is, was them dogs in 1930, 1940, 1950, was them Lightner dogs? Because Colby, Tom Gordon couldn't remember who owned the dogs because he didn't run them. Like Tom Gordon saying that it was a blue pit bull, and this guy up here saying that Lightner had black blue dogs. They don't benefit because they're not running it. They're only giving the knowledge that they heard because Tom Gordon got in the Apbts in 1976. I don't know what time the other dude got in the Apbts, but I do know that Tom Gordon came into the Apbts in 1976. By the time he came, Lightner already had did his crosses and did what he had to do. Colby had did his cross what he needed to do. They already had made their family a dog. So we know that this game of the Apbt is how you put it. You know what I'm saying? You gotta really learn, because at the end of the day, everybody gets out here and on platforms and speak and discredit Colby, Lightner. When you discredit the blue dog or the black blue dog, like the man said, black blue dog, you're discrediting, not me, not any dog. I'm just an advocate for it. I just speak for the blue dog because that dog right there was like a unknown person. So when you think about the blue American Pit Bull Terrier, the Apbt, the one that they say the founder Lightner made, at the end of the day, you're not discrediting me. You're discrediting the founders of these dogs. Anytime that you do that, you're not assaulting us. But then you, at the end of the day, how would you feel if you created your own blood and some new kids that was born in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, discredit something that you fought for from the 1896, and you did all you could do to be able to put yourself on there, and then you got some new people who don't even know what was the goal of it, didn't research you, didn't read your books, don't know nothing about you. They up here discrediting you. That is the horriblest thing to do in the Apbt American Pit Bull Terrier people, is to discredit Colby, Lightner, Corvino, Earl Tudor, anybody that gave time to a breed of a dog who made these dogs for us to love, can never ever be assaulted and disrespected. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. You can never ever tear down the founders of the Apbt, the American Pit Bull Terrier, the game dog, the box dog, the bulldog, the fighting dog. You know, it has so many names. You cannot discredit that dog and the founders of that dog. You listen, at the end of the day, when you think about this Apbt, Colby, Lightner, and down the line, people followed their looked up to them, and they turned around and got jail time for doing what Colby and Lightner and them did when they could do it. They got jail time behind that. Real jail time behind that. People lost their freedom because of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to think about that. Like, they lost their whole freedom. They lost everything that they could have to be able to keep the breed alive. But at the end of the day, the breed can be alive. If we do right with the dogs, and we take them to shows and we put shows on, we can keep the breed alive. But we can't keep none alive if everybody wants to pull their pants out and show they behind. Because when you show your behind, we're not Colby, we're not Lightner, we're not Corvino. We're just people that own a breed of dog that is our dog. That it is called the American Pit Bull Terrier. We are all American people. That's our dog. That's our dog. We listen. Colby, Lightner, Corvino, Earl Tudor, and all the rest of them. They put so much into these dogs for these dogs to be able to be, as certain people say, the ultimate dog. The ultimate dog. The Superman of the dog community. That's how certain people look at him. They the Superman of the dog community. Can't nothing take them down. But I realized one thing. When you think about them people, they can't take it down there. They can take that dog straight down there. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you got to think about this. When you think about John P. Colby and Earl Tudor and Corvino, they had to do some amazing jobs, because we wouldn't be talking about it. If Colby was an ultimate dog man and made good bulldogs or Apbt or game dogs or box dogs or fighting dogs, we wouldn't be talking about it. If Earl Tudor and Lightner wouldn't have made them dogs, we wouldn't be talking about it. We all listen. I don't talk about which dog went into what dog. I talk about that these dogs that people had dreams and goals with their dogs, that back in their time, they was trying to be like Mayweather. Mayweather is a boxer. Mayweather trained other people to be a good boxer. So if you think about it, it was back then, it was a sport like boxing. Only difference in boxing, you cannot use your teeth or your feet. And that the dogs don't have hands to box. They don't have hands to box. They don't have nothing to be able to help them be able to defend themselves when it comes down to being able to handle their business and be somebody who can be somebody. The dogs end up being the ultimate dog. And it's just I mean, when I think about it, and I think about all these old timers, not knowing that they was racist, they might not even like me because I'm African American. You know what I'm saying? But I realized they was making gumbo, spicy gumbo. They were trying to make the best spicy gumbo that they can make. And a lot of them achieved in it, and in their era, a lot of people felt in it. Like nowadays, we can all say that, but back in their days, it was a win or lose. And what I mean by that, I mean like either you put yourself on a map, because I believe when Colby was around and Earl Tudor and Corvino and Lightner and all them, it was other people who we don't even know existed. But one thing we do know is, from this understanding, is it is a such thing as a blue nose pit bull. It is an APBT. It has been a blue versus red in 1936 in a show holded up by the dog registries. And they back in the day, you had to go to a real ring, and because it was like a boxing ring, like back in the day, they advertised them fight back in the day. Hit that thumb up if you have it. But they advertised them fights like they advertised Mayweather fight. All come out and what I'm saying, bet your money. You know what I'm saying? It was something where people sat around. And nowadays you do that, you're going to be locked up because times had changed. We're talking about from 1896 to probably, I think they banded it in, was it banded at I got it. I'm not gonna lie and tell you I can't remember off the top of my head because it's so much knowledge that's in my brain that's trying to jump out, and I'm trying to not give you something that I'm not actually correct on, because I'm trying to remember the time limit of the APBT and Colby's time and the blue versus red in 1936. And both bloodlines was Lightner blood. Lightner had his red blood, and Lightner had his black blue blood. And Lightner went in, and Lightner was the man. Colby was the man. But if you got two dogs in a ring together, and it's one breeder, they tell me that one breeder. So they're just like, okay, if you got my bloodline, blue ice bloodline, if you got blue ice bloodline and you doing weight pulling, and you got two of my dogs, if you got we got my red line and then we got my blue line, I gotta be somebody for you to have my blue line and my blue black line and my red line. We know that Lightner was making APBTs. We know Lightner was selling the dog to people who was going to put it dog to see what they're working dog. When we listened to that in the beginning of this live, I never heard nobody say that Lightner was not doing his job, that he was not being a part of it. You know what I'm saying? Like Colby bred a dog with Lightner dogs. Lightner bred a dog with Colby dog. There was two crosses back in the day. That was A1 crosses. A1 crosses. So back in that day, it was, if you didn't have a Lightner and a Colby, you didn't have nothing. And that's just how it was. You had to have a Lightner and a Colby to have a good dog. If you didn't have it, you didn't have a bulldog. You didn't have a good bulldog. You had to have it to have a good bulldog. And it's just, and I'm not glorifying the sport. I'm just glorifying that the dog that I love and the color I love that I've been knew that I told about 4 years ago is real deal. Holyfield was part of the making of the APBT of now. That's the whole point of it. The blue line, blue line, black blue dogs, Lightner dogs was a part of going on to the APBTs of the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, because you still to today can find a real APBT that's the color gray or blue or black. You're going to be able to find it. So when you think about it and you take it over and you run with it, you got to realize that this information is very helpful for the knowledge of learning about the APBT, the American Pit Bull Terrier, the game dog, the box dog, the fighting dog, the bulldog. It had so many names, the pitty. You know what I'm saying? This dog has approved in names because it has so many names that it had all them names that back in the days some of the APBTs was labeled as American Stafford Terrier when it was not American Stafford Terrier. They would just call that because it was a docile name. It was a docile name. It was a name that didn't sound so harsh as calling a game dog, or they didn't call it game dog, they called it a pit dog. So you want to either use the word pit dog or American Stafford Terrier. You want to use the word box dog, or you want to use the word Amstaff. You want to use, so it was you had to choose which name you was gonna go with to keep your blood going, because at the end of the day, it's like nowadays people try to get around the laws and around the rules and around the 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 people. So it was all the same. It was all the same. It was worked into the working of the dog. It was put in there to do the task. It was put in there to be able to work with what it had. And my favorite thing is knowing the information that is put out there is the correct information. The correct information. I want, you got to know that the information is very healthy to the APBT, because if you don't know this, you're not knowing everything. You're not knowing everything. You want to know everything about a breed of a dog that you said that you're studying and learning. You're studying and learning. So I'm proud that the information is getting out there. Maybe when you put hate in front of something, see, you can lie for so long. You can lie for so long. But at the end of the day, when you putting hate in front of something, the truth come out. Because if people was never trying to prove me wrong, the blue dog probably would have still been in the hide. But because I fought a fight and I won, technically I won. Because the information is being put out there. It was not being put out. It was nobody that wanted to talk about it. And see, people talk about it, so I won't talk about it. But at the end of the day, you got to think about it. Every opportunity is an opportunity to learn. Every day that you wake up, you can learn something new. This education is purpose. Let me teach you something. That Lightner, Colby, Covino, we don't know. We can say, oh, they had black dogs, but the research is that the black blue dog, they wanted to call it whatever, what I'm saying, because it's a situation that we would never be able to talk to these men. Like I would never be able to sit down and talk to Colby and Lightner about what color, what made you do the breed to make your own another strain of dog. What happened with the red dog that made you want to turn to the blue black dog? Blue black dog. Blue. So, it's worked out. It worked out for the favor of the breed of the dog. People can say no, it didn't, but it did. It did. It worked out very good. It worked out so A1. But I'm gonna let y'all go with that so I can eat me some dinner, because I did come in a little late to do this live. So salute. And we're gonna end with my where's my music at? Let's go down. think this it.
And every time they hate, I throw a dog on the internet and show them, yeah, I'm real deal, this and any dog movement, yeah. A hater don't stop the movement, they can't do it, yeah. A hater can't stop the movement, they can't do it, yeah. All they do is say, all I do is give money. All they do is say, all I do is work my dog. Put these 2 feet together, get the putting miles on it, they can't fuck with an any dog movement, yeah, any dog. And every time they hate, I throw a dog on the internet and show them, yeah.